The Wyeth versus Levine case was all about a Vermont woman whose arm was amputated after being given an IV injection of an anti-nausea drug. Wyeth was held responsible because they failed to adequately warn about this type of injection, this type of administration. And this case was all about what standard was more important and what standard should hold. Is it going to be the federal standard which should preempt or the Vermont standard? During the former Bush administration, they had passed regulations that were used to set standards so that the pharmaceutical companies especially and other product liability suits would have one standard that was easiest for regulators and easiest for corporations to deal with. This was the argument that was made. They made it if the federal law would preempt that people could be injured in not having met a state standard but lose their rights to make a claim. Well, the recent victory in preemption came about in May of this year, where Obama decided that what had gone on in the Bush administration was totally wrong and issued a federal directive that said that they were going to examine all of the Bush administration's directives in over the last 10 years and say, look, we're not going to say that there's a blanket preemption. We're going to look at all of these regulations and decide if any of them make any sense or do not make sense. If they make sense, they're going to stay in place. If they don't make sense, they're going to be rolled back. Because the whole theory behind what the Obama administration is doing is saying the most important thing is individual rights to bring claims and not the rights of corporations or making life easier for the regulators. You see, we have to understand that this is all about balancing interests. On one side, you have the rights of corporations to do things and standards they have to meet, and also the ease for regulators to regulate. And on the other side, you have the rights of individuals to bring claims and the standards they have to meet. And what happened is the Bush administration sided with large corporations, making it easier for them to do business because they simply had to meet one standard, a federal standard, nationally, which wound up being a very low standard, while the Obama administration is saying we care about business, but we more care about individuals' rights to bring actions. The reason why preemption is important for ordinary Americans is that the standard that the federal government sets is now the floor and not the ceiling. The ceiling is what can be set by individual states. So we have a situation where individuals' rights are more important than corporations' rights and ease to do business. And the ease of regulators is not the most important thing. The most important thing is the safety of individuals.